Hello, everybody. It's April the 11th, 2025, episode number 46 of Into the Fire, coming to you live from Tulsa, Oklahoma. What a treat do we have tonight. Freddy Ponce, retired homicide detective from Miami, Florida, one of the true OGs. I'm talking OG. He literally was on episode 1 of season 1 of the first 48. So he and I actually share a little bit of a kinship when it comes to that. There's not a whole lot of detectives across this country that can say that they were on that show. And both Freddie and I have been on there on multiple episodes. And he's somebody that I watched from way before I got into homicide. And he was a standout for me. And actually, we'll talk a little bit about Freddy and how he's moved on to just be epic, really. What he's done with his career is absolutely fantastic. He's moved on from the world of homicide to do many more things, and he's just not somebody that's a wallflower. He's actually making a difference in the world. I did want to make a mention a couple of things. This I wasn't able to be here the last couple of weeks, so for those of you that managed to find other things, hopefully you came back. I want to thank everybody that's the viewers that are here watching us tonight. Adiza, I don't know that I've seen your name here, so welcome. And many of the other regulars that are normally here, Phyllis, etc. And I see Steph's in the house. I also wanted to make a special announcement about somebody that there's a lady that follows me on Facebook. Her name is Christy Mangano. I hope I'm pronouncing that last name right. And Christy's mother, she wanted me to give a shout out to Christy's mother, and her name is Janice Yako, and she hails from Howell, New Jersey. And thoughts and prayers for you, Janice. She tells me that Janice is a super fan of the show, and she's somebody that just recently, unfortunately, got diagnosed with cancer. And she's been a little bit down in the dumps because of that. And she had said to me that basically she is like just the rock in their family and does everything for her family and has forever. I mean, just is that person that everybody gravitates towards, etc. That is just an amazing woman. So Janice, thank you for being a fan of not only myself, but what a bonus tonight, since I'm mentioning you're going to have Freddy Ponce coming on here. And that means the world to us. Also, I wanted to mention that I spent some time. I'm on a committee for the Homicide Investigators of Texas, and thank you, Phyllis. Prayers go to Janice's way for sure. And those of you, if you think about it, send a prayer her way. I know that it's very much appreciated. Also, I wanted to mention once again that I'm on the committee of the Homicide Investigators of Texas. And I got to serve my first time as on the committee this couple of weeks ago. And I'm going to say this personally. That's saying something. If the Texas Association has got an Okie on as part of it, so I'm really proud of that. I believe me, I'm honored to be a part of it. Some of the people that I helped bring on for them to have as speakers is our friend Summer Benton. And she's Atlanta Homicide, also featured on the first 48 previously. I got to hang out with Summer for a little bit, and she's a ton of fun. Actually, me and my wife, we went out to dinner with her and had a great time. Lots of laughs. Also, we had Billy Queen there. We had Billy Queen on the show, a couple of weeks ago, and I got to hang out with Billy. And also the infamous Gil Carrillo, who is the lead detective of the Night Stalker case, and just a lot of different people. And Lexi Gage, actually, she was in one of our episodes as well from the medical examiner's office in Oklahoma City. She actually was there attending. So I had 4 of my previous guests that were there, and what a ton of fun that was. I'll try to put some pictures up in reference to that. But it was a good time and so forth. So let's get to this. And Freddie said basically we can hang out here for the next hour and 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. When Amanda gets done, then we're going to have to be done. But she's allowing us to stick around a little longer than the normal. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Freddy Ponce, actually Dr. Freddy Ponce, PhD. He's also a graduate of the the NFA. I'm going to get into what that is. That's I think it's the, well, we'll get into it. He's the instructor and investigative consultant. Dr. Freddy Ponce is the owner of Citigroup Criminal Investigations Training Group and has been involved in law enforcement investigations for over 24 years as a member of the City of Miami Police Department, and was part of the homicide unit conducting all aspects of homicide investigations, and still has close ties to the department. He is a graduate. Okay, this is what it is. He's a graduate of the National Forensic Academy, class number 55. As part of the Citigroup Investigative Consultants, Dr. Ponce specializes in homicide investigations, major crime management, and interviews and interrogations. That's awesome. He graduated from Nova Southeastern University with a master's in forensic psychology and obtained his doctorate PhD in criminal justice and behavioral science in the same university. Dr. Ponce continues to mentor and assist criminal investigators that request his assistance from around the world. So welcome to the show, somebody that he's kind of a mentor to me. He didn't know it.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you for having me.
The legend, thank you for being here, buddy. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the time and the opportunity.
I'm not hearing you. Hang on a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
We're having a moment with his audio.
I'm good. Yep.
Hang on a minute.
Amanda hears me. Leave and come back, Jason, she says in the chat room.
I'm going to leave and come back.
Yeah. We're good.
Okay. And apparently it's going to be my debut. My name's Amanda. I'm the producer here with Jason, and I'm going to try to vamp until he gets back. These things happen. June is a Friday the 13th, so stay tuned to that episode for fun times.
Oh, next Friday 13th, okay.
Yeah, in June, yeah. So did you know Jason from the first 48 or just hear of each other?
We just heard of each other from back and forth, seeing the shows. I was also a fan myself, so I one of the best ways to learn is to watch actual true crime and true crime TV and reality TV and documentaries. You pick up a lot of information. So yeah, I was also a fan of the show myself. So
I know a lot of people in here are big fans of the first 48. I'm sure a lot of people might even recognize you from that. But without
the beard, and I had more hair back then.
Well, I put up the picture that he sent me. I'm like, oh, I hope I have the right guy. No, you're getting more and more handsome as you age, as we all are, right? Here's Jason. Can you hear us, Jason?
Can you hear me now?
We hear you.
We
Doctor?
hear Jason. Yeah.
Do you hear him, Jason?
Can you hear me, Jason? Good? I hear Jason well.
Okay, Jason is still having problems because he's not hearing us. Okay, and welcome to live radio, folks. Is he writing us a note? I don't know what he's doing. Hold on. We hear you. Double check mic. Sorry, folks. This is everything was fine before we went live. We were all talking for a few minutes before we went live, so this is just a small little glitch in the matrix. We'll be fine. I know there's a lot of people in here that are major fans of not only just 48 hours, or the first 48, but I think a lot of crime in general. And I personally think it's because we just can't wrap our heads around why people do these kind of things, right? And for you guys to actually talk to them, like, does it make any more sense ever? I doubt it, right?
Yeah, it's addicting to know what. Yep.
Yeah, can you hear us, Jason?
Oh, you can hear me now.
Yeah.
We always could. Can you hear us?
I'm able to hear you.
Okay.
Yep, we hear you good.
Stand by. You can go ahead and answer your question. I'm going to deal with Jason.
No, yeah, it's even for us who are seniors at this, always intriguing to know what's in the mind of these people who have these impulses, because homicide is by impulse, and some are a little bit more premeditated and some thought are into it if it's somebody who's actually planning a murder. and we want to know what is that need that they need to fulfill. So, it's definitely intriguing to try to figure out, especially when we're trying to figure out who it is in the end, try to solve that puzzle when
Hey,
we're
I'm
presented
back.
with that problem.
Can you hear
me?
us, Jason?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear the doctor?
Yes.
We're
Okay. I'm
good.
so sorry.
We're good.
Hey,
We're all good.
I'm sorry. I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
And everyone tell Jason you want me as his new co-host. I'm just
There you
kidding.
go.
I want to be behind the scenes. Take it away, Jason.
Don't go away, Amanda. We might have an emergency. Stay
I
there.
will be here.
Hey, you know what it was? It was competing with my other laptop that was next to me. I did want to mention real quick, Freddie, because it may not have came through. Did anything that I was talking about ever come through, or was it just me?
We heard everything you said there.
Oh, good. So,
yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Well, listen, Freddie, I appreciate you being here, buddy. I really do.
Yeah.
You're somebody that you and we share a lot of commonalities, actually. And I know that what I want to start with, honestly, is, man, how did you even get interested in becoming a cop to begin with? How did that all start out?
Wow, I'll tell you, that story is a very, very long time ago when I was about 19 years old. I was looking for a job, and a friend of a friend who owned a detective agency in Miami was looking for young people who actually wanted to do something fun and actually do some simple work of following people around who were cheating on their spouses. And when I was told that story, I'm all in. While all my friends were hustling around in the streets of Miami, either at the beach or playing basketball, I was chasing old people cheating on their wives, and I was having a whole bunch of fun doing it. And I was fortunate enough that the owner of this detective agency sent me to my first interrogation school when I was 19 years old. I'm 57 now, and I've been doing that work for that long, of perfecting and coming up with new methods of interviewing and interrogation. And so, but one or two of my main courses that I teach with my company now is advanced interview interrogations and interview interrogations and interrogations for homicide investigators, amongst all the other courses I teach with my company for homicide investigators. So if that's something I've done throughout my entire career. So I did that for a couple of years. I did some missing person cases. I left to the military for 4 years and still doing research with that. And then when I came back from the military, my goal is I was pretty proficient at interviewing witnesses already. I was pretty good at it. And my goal was that I wanted to interview what I thought to be the worst criminals in the world were sex offenders, is what I wanted to apply those skills at. My passion was to be in front of a sex offender, a rapist, and get him to confess. So by then, I entered the PD at 29 years old. And that was my goal. That's what got me to police work. And I always knew that I wanted to go to investigations. But like many police departments, you got to go through uniform division. You got to go through patrol. You got to go through the streets. This is different than what happens in other countries. I'm in Brazil right now, and it's not like this here. There's the detectives are not patrol officers. And there's a big disconnect with that. There's a problem with that because they don't have the street experience that investigators like you and I have had, been in uniform prior to being in investigations unit. So, I applied to Miami Police Department. I got in. I did my work in the streets. Did about 3 or 4 years on the road, and I already had some background experience with investigations. But I was having a problem getting into Special Victims Unit. Back then, it was a sex. What was it called? It was not called Special Victims Unit. Yeah,
We called it.
wording.
We called it sex crimes. Just
sex battery unit. That's what they called it back then. It wasn't. Now it's changed. But the guys that worked there at the Special Victims Unit, those guys were there 20 years. Those same investigators, they would not leave. There were no openings at all. And then through official bulletins started coming in openings for homicide. So I was like, listen, I know that many of the murders that have occurred are a result of a serious domestic violence case or a sex offender that went too far, rapist that went too far and then killed, their victim. So I knew I was going to get that world while conducting homicide investigations, but it wasn't that easy to get in. The lines were very long. A lot of people applied for one position. You'd have like 12 senior people in front of you, and then I'm like, I'm me. Yeah, I got some background. I only had like 4 years on the department, and I'm applying for a homicide unit. So it wasn't until the third time around that I finally got in. My persistence helped me out a lot. And throughout those years, if there's young investigators listening and watching, is like, don't waste your time sitting around waiting for an interview, and try to take as many investigative courses as possible. So when you do get to that interview, you show up with that notebook, that book that has all those certificates, and you get to sit in front of a panel. I don't know how it is in Tulsa when you're going to go interview for investigative division. In Miami, you'd have to sit in front of the homicide commander, three other senior investigators, the people you're eventually going to be working with. And they interview you across the board. They want to know everything about you, your past, from almost the day you were born, and then they want to know about your education. They want to know about everything. So I was not wasting my time. And in those, finally, before I got to that selection, I was at the homicide office on my days off, sitting with homicide investigators, wanting to know their work. Tell me how you do your work, and I would sit with them. And they would see me there every day, after work and on my days off. I want to learn about interrogation. I want to hear some tapes. I want to see some, a mandatory video recording didn't start till about 2000, 2002, 2003. And so before then, it was all cassette tape. And then I would log my hours. I'd have a little notebook, just like I did when I was in the military. You want to advance to a position, you got to go visit the unit that you want to go work at and log hours. So I had a book with me, a notebook, small notebook, and I'd give it to the investigator. Hey, I was here with you for an hour talking about interrogations. Sign me off. And they're like, what the hell is this? What is this thing? Sign you off.
Right.
Just trust me, this is what I need. Because I knew I was going to come to that interview, whenever that was. I had already been denied already a couple times.
Yeah.
And then I showed up to my interview with my notebook, and it was stacked, man, hours and hours. And they're like, who does this?
Yeah, right. Hey, by the way, is that something that's normal? Did people bring a book to their interview?
No, they've never seen that before.
I got to tell you something funny, Freddie, because when I heard you talk about that on another podcast, which, by the way, I enjoyed that. It's that coffee shop podcast.
Yeah.
And so when I was listening to you, the funny thing about what you just said, number one, I was 28 when I got on the department. And when so I was an older rookie like yourself. And I went through rejection a couple of times previous to that, too. It was a little bit different for us. The first time around, I think it was more the good old boy system where, you'd hear through the grapevine that you just didn't get it, but it was one of those deals. You weren't selected. Then they started interviewing people. And then by the third time, when I went in there for my interview, I said, they'd called me in earlier, and I told them, I said, they said, well, that pretty much covers it. And I said, no, that doesn't cover it. I'm going to get my money's worth, and so are you. And the funny thing that you'd mentioned is I actually put together a book exactly like what you're talking about, other than I didn't have people initial it like it was a recipe book. But I put together all of my certificates. I put together the best reports that I wanted them to see. I put together all of this stuff, and I put it in I made it look just like a homicide book, and I slid it across the table to them. And I said, that's your copy to keep. And they had never seen that before. And so when you said that, I was like, "Holy cow!" I did the exact same thing, and I was so proud. I was so proud of that book. But anyway, go on. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, yeah. I mean, that's. I mean, if you look in it, it's almost like we're transitioning to somebody. We can transition into recruiting a homicide investigator, and the mistake. This is the mistake. We're gonna get our friend, our buddy, because he's cool and we want him in the homicide unit. That's the biggest mistake. It's always a problem. They always turn out not to do a good job because we're taking care of somebody. I want two things: the guy who's persistent, who's always coming by the office and asking questions, and I want the education. The guy who went out of his way to go do the training, whether it was formal education or they went to the 40-hour courses from in-house people or from specialty companies that come in and do the training. Yeah. I want them to come already prepared for the interview and show, this is me, these are my certificates, and this is what I want, and I want to be in your unit, and this is why. And then everybody's going to say, that guy doesn't stop coming to the homicide unit. He really wants to be here. A problem that Miami Homicide had for a while, there was we were short in the unit. A couple guys, there was was 2007, a big group, about 327 people retired from Miami PD. They knew they were coming, and they were recruiting people through the police academy coming. But a lot of the old timers were in homicide in the sex bat unit, and a bunch of guys left. It was such an emergency that they went and grabbed people from persons crimes, domestic violence, and robbery. These guys did not want to be homicide investigators, man. They did not want to go there. And they were pissed. But they went anyway, and they didn't turn out to do that well.
Yeah.
I would rather... Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what I have two things too. Mine are a little different. See, for me, if I was picking, I don't really care what people look like on paper. I want trainability and somebody that is a team player. Man, I am not interested in the lone wolf that is all about them, that is not there to back you, that just disappears. I want somebody that is absolutely, and I love what you're talking about. I agree with you. Somebody that shows the initiative to basically, man, I've never heard of anybody like you that actually sat up there and spent as much time as you did off duty. They had to have been talking about you in that unit. There's just no other way.
That's the whole intention. I mean, if you want to, if you want to be somebody, you want to go somewhere, you want to do something, people have to know who you are. You got to be in their face all the time. If you show up to that meeting, nobody even knows you work for the department. Right. Nobody knows who you are. Who is this guy? We've never seen him before. Okay, they rejected me once. They rejected me a second time. Oh, there's a third time. Oh, we remember you. We interviewed you twice before. And, and then you get some guys, look, they're not going to pick me, so I'm not even going to go to the interview. So that's what's going to happen. You're not going to get picked. So that's you want somebody who wants to be there. Just think about the job itself. You know the job. If you don't want to do the job and you don't have a passion for it, you're not going to do good work. You're not going to do good work. So you want to be there, and I want some education. I prefer to recruit somebody from a persons unit, somebody that wants to be there and already has some experience interviewing. Give me somebody from robbery, give me somebody from domestic violence, but that they want to come to the unit, not that they don't want. They want to come, and they have experience already doing interviews, so I don't have to waste my time training. I get a new guy that I'm training. How proficient are you at interviewing witnesses? Give me that. You're really good at that. We are making a lot of progress. I don't have to babysit you with sending you, go interview a witness for me and bring it back. Let me hear the recording after. So that's a big one for recruiting. Recruit somebody from persons crimes. Yeah. Harder. It's harder to bring somebody straight from patrol. You would have to hear about their background and education, but I definitely look for domestic violence and robbery. Yep.
Yeah. How big is Miami PD as far as authorized strength?
1,500.
Okay, so it's pretty good. It's
officers.
pretty good size. Yeah, it's pretty good
Yeah,
size.
1,500
You're definitely busy. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's tons of crime there. So you get. I agree with what you're saying. I think that's great. I also would like to see somebody that comes into the unit, and I think that we're kind of guilty of this a little bit too. Is that I don't think we set the parameters down on as the way it should be. What we expect of them. Their squad expectations. When you come in the door and they put out a skeleton call, I don't want you to be sitting at your desk while we're getting up to move to go to it. You should be beating us out the door to go see the skeleton call or the death call or whatever, to go, hey, can we go to that? That's what I want to hear. And then ask me questions, even if you know the answer to it, to make me think that I'm important. You know what I mean? Ask questions, whatever you've got to do. So, but that's good. So you get into Homicide. Once you get in there, you're not in there for very long before the first 48 rolls in there. Is that right?
We started filming in, I think there was another show filming before the first 48 was Crime Scene Uncovered, but it only covered the CSI guys. So when it transferred to Homicide, the show died there. So they were like, hey, let's come up with this new show. I think it was 2002. And then first 48 started, and then that went for 13 seasons that I was there with them.
Yeah, it went a long time. Yeah, it went a long time for sure. You, when they came in there, tell me a little bit about what for you guys, it was completely different because you didn't have somebody to kind of see how it went with other cities. For you guys, it was a brand new thing. So what was that like? Yeah,
we were the first city that launched in first 48. We were the first city. Working with the field producers, the guys. Yeah, at the beginning, it was a little odd, man. It was a little weird. Because you were talking about trust. We needed to trust them. We always had control. We always set the parameters on when they can film, when they cannot film. They were always called all the time. When the sergeant received the call that there was a homicide, they were like the second person called, and then all the other detectives got called in. So some of them were on scene before we even arrived because they lived in the city. They had apartments. The producers were rented apartments in the city so they can get to the crime scenes faster.
Yeah.
So it's being comfortable with them that, initially the camera in the face is exactly what it is. It's a camera in your face the whole time you're there, the whole shift. And there's like two guys. Never really saw three guys with cameras. Always two guys or a lady. And the camera in your face was uncomfortable initially. It was tough. And then we only really had a problem with one guy, and it wasn't a big deal. When we told him, hey, look, you need to put the camera down. We're going to have a private conversation. He was still with the camera up. So we had to stop talking, and then we had to had a separate meeting with him, and then call New York, and this little thing like that. It wasn't a big deal, and then we had another problem with a guy. We told him to get out of the crime scene, and he wouldn't get out of the crime scene. It was a small issue, but I think it was after a while of being comfortable with them and becoming friends over the years. We would see the same two guys for many, many years. So until this day, I'm still very good friends with most of them. I've done several documentaries with some of them on other stuff, and I'm working on another one now. But yeah, it's initially it was tough, but then it became okay.
Yeah, one of the questions that came in is that do we have to have permission? They don't have any permission to film, but they have to have permission later on from the loved ones for them to air the episode. That's kind of how it worked for us. I don't know how it was for you initially. Was it like that? Probably even more strict, really.
Yeah. So initially, when I first started, it was a contract with the city of Miami. It was several meetings with the city, several meetings with the chief of police, with the homicide commander, and then all of the investigators had to sign a release that their faces are going to be on TV. Nobody got paid anything, no benefits or nothing like this. And then everybody who was filmed had to sign a release. All the witnesses and all the family members. So if you saw a blurry face, it's because they didn't get a signature. If you see something on TV, and if you saw a blurry face, is because it was somebody we were looking at, a person of interest that we were looking at on TV. You always see that blurry face on the TV. Is because it was not a suspect, an eventual suspect in the end. Yeah.
So I want to talk about a case that I thought was interesting that I'd heard you talk about previously, and I don't know if it was your first case or your second case, but it was a triple. You got called out on a triple homicide or something along those lines. Does that ring a bell to you?
Had a couple triple homicides. I don't know which one you're dealing with.
Well, the one I'm referring to is when you get there, it turns into an actual double homicide because somebody was,
the kid that was acting dead. Yeah, when the police arrived on the scene, he was so scared. Even the officers that were on scene calling for the triple, and then she touched the kid, and then the kid was like, "No, I'm alive. I'm just staying here because I don't know if the shooter's still around."
Yeah,
we've seen some pretty crazy stuff. A lot of crazy cases. It's tough. It's a tough job, man. We've seen a lot of horrific scenes throughout the years.
Yeah, no doubt. I tell you what, one of my favorite episodes of all time, actually, of all of the episodes from the first 48, comes from Miami, and it's just a scene that Irvin's Ford basically brought one mother. You know probably what I'm talking about. He brought the mother of the suspect in to talk to the mother of the victim, and I thought that was freaking brilliant. Number one, and. Yeah. I think that they paid some dividends, really, to try to get that individual to turn himself in.
Yeah, the meetings with that's always something that we've always worked on, is going directly to the offender's mother when they're on the run, because they're always going to contact their mother. Either the mother or grandmother, the person. Our background that we do with the offender is so detailed that we want to find who that person is that they're closest to, and we'll lean on that person to bring them in. And we tell them the truth, exactly what could potentially happen here. If we're talking about gang murders specifically, let's say, what are the potential problems that he could have? We have the victims. If the victim was a gang member, his buddies are looking for him to kill him. This is what I'm telling the offender's mother. Your son is in a situation where he's on the run. He's scared. We know he's scared. The victim was a known gang member, just like your son. Guess what his friends are doing? They're going after him to kill him. Mm-hmm. All right? Who's also looking for him? We are. When your son sees the police, and it's not going to be me, the homicide detective. We don't go. I'll hunt for the offender and get all the research and everything, and I hand it to the SWAT team, or I hand it to the what do they call these guys? The warrants guys, and all those warrants guys. They're all SWAT guys. They're all dressed in black, and they all got rifles. And I tell that to the mother. When your son sees that, he's going to do something stupid and make a mistake, and they're going to kill him. He's going to raise a gun at them. He's going to do something crazy, and they're going to kill your son. What do I want as an investigator? Look, I want to try to get him captured and for me to be able to interview him and interrogate him. But I'll tell the mother, I'd rather you find an attorney and turn him in. So your son is alive. You never know what could happen in any homicide case. Something could be completely off, completely wrong. By then, we should probably know that it's definitely him. We have the right evidence and that this is the suspect that we're looking for. But you never know what he's got to say in the interview room that can flip the whole thing around. Keep your son alive. I know he's contacting you. Call me. Here's my card. That's at 10 o'clock at night. I'm talking to the mother. Guess what I'm doing at 12 o'clock at night? I'm knocking on her door again. And I'm coming back at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he's going to know about it. And that offender does not want you to mess with his mother. And he doesn't want her to go through the pain that he's causing her. So he's going to turn himself in. I've had that happen many times. My favorite thing was always to have them come without the attorney, obviously, and I would get confessions. And I've been able to interview several, even with their attorney present. But yeah, you got to tell it exactly like it is to the offender's mother. You got to tell them the reality of the seriousness. A lot of people will knock on the door. You know where your son is at? No, and then they just walk out and leave the door. Yeah. Extend the conversation a little bit. Let them know exactly what it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's really good advice, actually. What do you see from? And we're going to jump around a little bit here. What do you see kind of as the difference between detectives today from the detectives from when you were doing it? Or is there any difference?
I think they're getting a lot of help with technology. They're solving a lot of cases through technology, and I think that's fantastic. It's really hard now for offenders to get away. It really is. I would like to see continue for them to train on their interviewing skills. Keep that going. That's never going to go away. You can have all the technology you want to help you solve the case. You're the manager. You have to put the whole case together. You're going to be presenting that in court, and you're going to have to face the offender. I don't want to hear the excuse of, why should I have to interview him if I got him on DNA, I got him on prints, I got him on camera, I got him on AI, I got him on cell phone, I got him on everything. Now, that you're going to have to face this person and find out why. What led to this position, this issue. So that is the number one skill any investigator, specifically even a homicide investigator, needs to perfect, to be really good at, to not only to gain additional evidence and additional leads, but to try to get to the truth with that person you need to talk to. But yeah, the big difference now is that they have a whole lot more resources than we used to have before. They have a lot of technology available to them, which is amazing.
Well, and we do. I mean, we've got flock cameras, which are probably one of the biggest advances as far as at least getting us on into an area to look for people, et cetera. I mean, it's just amazing between that and tag readers and so forth. And you guys didn't have any of that. Furthermore, you really didn't have a lot of that phone technology that exists today. It's just insane, man. I mean, you already know. You teach this stuff. But it had to have been that I'm sure back then in Miami when you were working and you were filming, at least from 2004 to 2013 or 14 when you were or when did you guys stop filming? Do you remember?
I believe it was in 14
okay.
or 15. Yeah, 14, 15, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sure that you would have loved to have had some of that technology then, but I think you're absolutely right. And I think one of the problems that a lot of these people, it's almost a challenge for interviewing anyways because of this. You know, because they live on their phones and they text and they email and they don't talk like they used to, you know, kind of a thing. You and I are about the same age. So we both had a phone cord that was over 100 feet long when you were growing up in your house, man.
Yeah. We sure did.
But all right, so you've done that. You did the first 48. What was the experience like, or what was the community's reception to that in your community? Because quite frankly, man, here in Tulsa, I'll tell you, I think it's a blessing for us. I mean, I haven't seen anything negative with respect to that. The community, quite frankly, they're more apt to talk to us because of it. You know, they have more of a familiarity with us. So what was it like in Miami?
It was exactly the same. It helped us solve a lot of cases. I know specifically in the Overtown, Miami, they were big into it. You step out of your car and everybody's shouting your name from a distance. Hey, Ponce, what's going on, man? What's going on? And when you even got to the scene, they're already screaming you from the third floor. Definitely. We solved a lot of cases because of the first 48. We had a lot of people call in. They got to know who we were. Not that they were. How do I put this? They watched so much that they got to know us as investigators of who our personality and who we were, and that they knew that we cared about the community. We actually, and they see that. So it showed the other side of us, the true side of us that they didn't know about. So that got them, they got them calling. The more cases that we were solving, they're saying, hey, these guys are actually working hard. They realize, hey, listen, we've been here for 4 days. We haven't gone home. We'll go down to the gym, go take a shower, take a nap 15 minutes in the car, come back up to the office again, grab something to eat, get back at it. They were seeing that live as it was happening. So, we definitely it definitely helped us. It definitely helped us. A lot of people complained too. It was like, hey, you guys are showing too much information on TV. The sheriff's office denied. Was it ITV or the company who does First 48?
Yeah, ITV.
Yeah, they didn't want to do it because they thought that we were releasing too much technique, too much information. Oh, look, everybody knows what's going on, man.
Yeah.
But when you commit the crime, it's you're facing the music. It's completely different. You're not going to be remembering. Oh, I remember an episode that I saw. Maybe I should talk like this better. No, that's a joke.
Yeah. So what's the deal? I mean, you already said it. There's how many TV shows on TV that deal with real true crime, and what happens to them when they actually do one of these cases? They're not able to think. They're not thinking about all that jazz.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So.
It's my favorite part, I have to say, about hunting killers is, listen, they always know you're looking for them. So everybody's all concerned, oh my God, we got to get them right now. Or they're going to find out that it's them. Listen, they know it's them. They're the one that did it. They're always on the run. From the day one they commit the murder, they're always on the run. Whether they go sleep at mom's house, auntie, or grandma's house, they're always on the run. They're always jumping around. I'm fine with that. They're going to make a mistake, right? My favorite part about that is that while they start getting tired of running and now they're sleeping is when I have that warrant in my hand and I go knock on that door with that team that's going to go in there. And then that's when the bomb hits. If you've ever been scared of anything in your life, multiply that by 10. What happens to your body? These guys, you go knock on their door and they urinate on themselves or they defecate on themselves when they see your face, especially if they're fans of the show. And they knock on the door and they see you, who you are. Oh, hey, that's Jason. I know Jason. Oh, shit, Jason's here for me.
Yeah.
And
didn't you guys
that bomb drop is tough.
Didn't you say that you guys hit a house one time and honestly, you guys were on TV when you went into the house?
Yeah, that was a show. What did they title that? That was titled. It was a case of the victim got set on fire in his car. It'll come to me. It's coming to me. Torched. Yeah, it was seven defendants in that case. They all confessed, and it had been 6 months. I think the show would air like 6 months or 3 months later. By the time they started filming, it would already be airing. So the rerun was on when I knocked on his door. He was watching the rerun of the show that he was in, that we were looking for the guys. Oh, and when I knocked on the door and he opened the door, he right there, man, he urinated all over himself. Just grabbed him. All the county guys or the SWAT guys grabbed him. They brought him out to the hallway. It was pretty crazy. That's happened a couple times. The show has helped a lot. That's my favorite part about it. Obviously, getting a confession is a lot of fun, but just knowing that you're there, about to knock on the door, and they're having a good time with their girlfriend. That's it. Timing is everything. They're having a good time with their girlfriend. They're having dinner, or they're hanging out, or they're by the pool, or they're at a party, and the bomb just drops, and it just ends for them. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that is a lot of fun. I actually enjoy that too. So you were in that unit for how many years, and how many cases were you the lead in, if you know?
Oh my goodness. 14 years, 15. I think it was 15. Yeah. Lead. Well over 100 cases, easy.
Yeah. Who was
we were. I don't know how your team is set up. We were always a team of 4. So we all went to everybody's murder. So not only was I the lead, I was the lead in my case, but the 3 guys working with me were helping me.
Yeah.
And when it rotated to my partners, my 2 other 3 partners, I was in their cases. So we're multiplying all these cases together. So that's, we had 6 teams of 4, and then across the guys, the other team 1, team 2, team 3 that were across the desk from us, they were working the similar offenders that we were on multiple murders. So everybody was involved in different cases together. So, to say that you're the only lead on one case, you're really not by yourself. You're
right.
We're all working a bunch of cases.
Yeah.
And then we did not just work homicide. We worked natural death cases, suicide, not traffic accident cases, not traffic homicide, but accidental cases. Somebody falling from a building, something like that. And we also handled suicides.
Right.
So we responded. Not many police departments respond to actual natural death cases.
You would actually respond. You responded to all those too.
So
you would show up to those.
Yeah, we would respond to every. I don't know why every Saturday morning or Sunday morning, we'd have the little old people, died, and their families find them in the morning. So by the time you come to work at 7 a.m, I worked 10 years homicide midnights, and then I went to the day shift for my last 5, and it was always in the morning. You'd have 4, 5, 6 natural deaths in the morning. Your rotation was all morning long till about noon, going from house to house, doing a quick inspection, making sure everything's kosher, no problems, no issues, and then let the officer continue with the funeral home and handle everything else with the medical examiner. But we were, I will tell you this. For the 15 years that I was there, I saw death every single one of my working days in homicide. If it wasn't an actual homicide case, it was either a natural, an accidental, suicide, or a murder. Every single day.
Wow, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine that much. Now, when you were there, who was probably your biggest mentors as far as showing you the ropes and bringing you up, and the ones that you really? I mean, I don't want to single anybody out because I know that you had.
No. I did. Irvin's Ford was pretty awesome. He was a sergeant in a team I was doing at Midnights.
Tamayo seems really awesome.
Emiliano Tamayo was an amazing interviewer. He's now the chief at the state attorney's office, chief of police at the state attorney's office, investigations. He was an amazing interviewer. He was the guy that I would tell, hey, I want to listen to some tapes of your interviews. When I first got there, and even prior to going to homicide, is like, I'm listening to these all day long while I'm working midnights. I'm listening to them in my car. Where I'm going, I'm listening to interviews. That's something, even now when I teach and when I do training and interrogations, I tell people, listen, you're coming to the office and somebody's in the box getting interviewed, get in that monitor room and watch. It's schooling. It's brand new, it's interviewing. Yeah. So Tamayo and Ford were pretty big. A bunch of the senior guys did a good job. So.
Well, where are some of the other people? I think. Do you keep in contact with basically everybody from those days, or I mean, I know how people are when cops retire.
Yeah. A lot of. I talk to Eunice Cooper all the time. She's also working with Tamayo now. I worked with Fernando Bosch, who was my partner. Rolly Garcia was a partner of mine.
Yeah, Bosch seems really cool.
They're still doing law enforcement work. Carlos Castellanos retired, and he's doing some private security stuff now. He was one of my partners as well. And I think Chiqui Gonzalez, he's up in with FDLE, Florida Department of Law Enforcement. He might have retired by now, but he went after that. There's always something going on where everybody goes. Yeah, I still keep in touch with all those guys. Kevin Ruggiero was my partner for the whole 15 years that we were there in homicide. And he's a lieutenant now in the PD. He's about to retire. He's about to leave.
Really? Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
because he was
yeah.
somebody that was definitely people knew who he was, and Shalacy, of course. I'd heard Shalacy actually moved to Kansas. I don't know if that's true or not, but
Yeah, yeah, he's up there. I think he did a book and he did some public speaking for a little bit.
okay.
Yep, he's taking it easy up there. Yeah.
Yeah, good. So for the most part, everybody's good and moved on. And Irving's Ford, he's basically, isn't he high up on the brass? He's at brass or
He's
something.
up on with another police department. He's assistant chief of police with another PD after he retired
Okay.
with Miami.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
He just seemed to have like a calming presence to him. Him and Tamayo both. They kind of remind me of a couple of people that I worked with that would be like, "Hey, kid, just chill out. Just take a breath, man. It'll come together." Because I'm kind of one of those that I kind of do this roller coaster thing, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Just chill, take a breath. It'll be all right."
One of the things about Irvin's Ford, he was an amazing guy. When we were working, he was a guy that knew everything there is to know about the culture of the community that he lived in, and that the area where we had the biggest problems in the north end of the city, African American community, Haitian American community. He knew everything about that community. And what we were fortunate about working in Miami was that we had so much different cultures of people from different countries. We were so good at not only picking up just accents and knowing where people were from, what countries they were from, but the more knowledge that we gained from every culture when it comes to coming to interview those offenders, we knew everything there was about them personally and about their culture. So when you engage in that conversation about culture, you definitely know that. So in your area, you have the tribes. If you know anything about the indigenous community and the community of the people of the tribe, learn about it. Not just when you're interviewing the offender, but interviewing witnesses. And in your time off, you have officers in your own department that are of the same culture. So take your time to learn about the culture of your work. So take advantage of your patrol years and learning about the culture of the community that you work in, because you're going to need that information when you're going to sit in front of a homicide offender and talk about their background. You're going to learn a lot.
I think that's great advice. I really do. So you ended up leaving the department. I think, did you have 24 years when you left?
Yeah. In 2019, I retired. I had opened up my company the year before, preparing for this criminal investigations training unit. So I do now. I travel around the country and outside the country, or they come to me from outside the country. I train. I do a homicide investigations course. I do your basic interview interrogations course, an advanced interview interrogations course. I do a crime scene investigation course, case preparation and court presentation, where we train the investigators how to prepare the case, put the case together, and then present it in court, how to testify at depositions, how to present a case to a prosecutor, and how to work in the courtroom while you're doing that. And then I also have a criminal law class that I teach with a prosecutor friend of mine. That she's pretty awesome. So all those 5 courses, and then I consult on homicide cases where I have families that contacted me, victims' families, who need a liaison in between the police agency and them, to guide them to make sure that what the police is telling them is actually true, what is happening. I do that here in Brazil a lot.
Okay, so that's interesting. So is that something that primarily you're doing more of that, like in Brazil, the other countries? Because I saw that you've been in some other places as well, not just Brazil. You've been to some other places. Is it something that they just have a distrust for the police? Kind of.
Yeah. The community does. The police need a lot of help. We do. I help them with training as well. But the families, they want to make sure that the police is doing the right work, that they're doing everything they can, and what they're telling them is true or not. So I get access to the police case files. I read them through, and then I tell the family, look, they've either done a good job or something's missing. They need to do some follow-ups, or they've made a lot of mistakes. These are the mistakes. These are the problems. Or just like working cold cases, I help them find the offender. And we do that, and I do that for them.
How did that even start? I mean, I would think that would have been an easy thing, or not easy to break into that.
Right.
The police departments weren't probably like, "Oh yeah, hey, come on down and take a look at our books."
Yeah, it's all about networking, man. We had a contract with the State Department back in 2000. Fred, when was that? 2012 through 14 or 15. We were traveling to Brazil to train the Brazilian police department there. So I put my course together for Homicide, and we would team of 3, and we would travel throughout Brazil. Did about 7 trips to Brazil, to different states, and then I kept that networking. So every class was about 40 to 50 students, and then I created a WhatsApp group with every single person in that room. And I stayed in touch with them throughout the years when we stopped traveling there in 2015, I think it was, 15 or 16. We stopped traveling there, and I remained friends with all those people. But they never stopped contacting. So several of the homicide investigators would call me and tell me, hey, I'm working on this case. Can you help me out? Let's do some brainstorming here. And then it started from there. And then I would be in touch with the victims' families after I had retired and help with cases. And it's worked out. It's worked out well.
That's good. So, I want to go back just briefly. What's probably the most challenging case that you ever worked as far as in homicide in Miami? Because that's a lot of murders. That's a lot of craziness.
Yeah.
Is there one that sticks out? Yeah,
there's one. That one that I was telling you about. If you guys look up the episode called "Torched" on the first 48. It had 2. There's another show called, what is it called, After the First 48?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I did a second episode with that when we went to trial. The difficulties about when you have multiple offenders. I'll get into you want me to go through the story of the case? Do we have time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So this case was the call is that the vehicle is on fire, and the fire department found a body inside the car, right? So we still the bike tracking and finding who belongs to the vehicle, identifying the victim, and it belonged to the victim in the car, Jesus. Unfortunately, what Jesus was doing, him and his best friend were doing, was they were moving cocaine from South America into Miami and distributing here distributing in Miami in South Florida. So Michael, one of the main offenders in the case, set up a meeting with the victim and say, "Listen, I need some kilos of cocaine, and I want you to give me some of that so we can distribute." And he's like, "Well, you got to hold on, man, because you owe me from the last time I gave you kilos, and you didn't pay. So you owe me for 3 kilos before we can do any other deals." So Michael was a little bit bent out of shape about it. And what he ended up doing was, you know what, I'm going to set up a 21 kilo deal, see if I can set up a 21 kilo deal, and then find out where he has the drugs or the money and take it from him. So the only way he could set up the deal was actually to pay for the previous one. So he actually paid for 2 kilos cash, and then the victim accepted the new deal, the new 21 kilo deal. But by then, Michael had set up a crew. If you're in the business of trafficking cocaine, if you've got the cocaine, somebody's got a crew looking to rip you off. Automatic. Because these guys don't know how to do deals. They don't know how to sell, they don't know how to distribute, but they know how to rip you off. You can count on it. If you want to get in the drug business, that's fine. But somebody's looking for you, and it's the police and another crew to rip you off. And the guys that rip you off are going to kill you and take your stuff. Either it's cocaine or money. So that's what Michael did. He got a crew. He got a crew of 5 guys to follow the victim around for about 3 months and find out where the drugs were at or where their money was at. In what house was it? And in every location that the victim would go to, they would follow him. They got police uniforms. They got blue lights. They were pulling all their friends over, searching their vehicles and try to rip them off, see if they can rip off everything. And then they set up the meet for the 21 kilos. And the 5 guys show up. They meet him at a gas station, and they kidnap him.
Hey, Freddie, hang on a quick minute.
Yeah.
21 kilos of cocaine. I mean, what are we talking about value of that? That's got to be through the roof.
Back then, that was $14.5 for a kilo.
Wow. So big bucks.
Yeah.
Big money.
Yeah. All
right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I was curious as to what a kilo of coke would go for.
Yeah. Back then, that was 2005. Yeah. 2005, that was going for about 14.5 back then. I don't know what it is now.
I don't know, because we just don't see cocaine here in Oklahoma like you guys did in Miami. You guys were like a point of entry, from Mexico, I would guess.
They just had a big bust a couple of days ago. So they set up the meet. They grab him, they kidnap him, and then they keep him for about 5 hours or so. The cocaine ended up being at his mother's house. They make him call his mother to push the vehicle out of the way, out of the driveway from the house when the kilos were inside that car. So the mother saw when all the offenders came in, all these caravan of vehicles, when her son was tied up in the back seat. He had already been shot one time in the leg by that time. And then what happened throughout the night was Michael, who was the orchestrator of kidnapping the victim and trying to get the drugs, had one of the co-defendants with him, Tick. Tick had another crew on standby without Michael knowing. He had a crew of Haitian guys standing by, another 6 guys. He goes, as soon as I tell you guys I'm gonna take the victim, or we're gonna go get the drugs. So Michael ended up telling Tick, listen, let's go to my friend's house. I lost my cell phone in the kidnapping. I'm going to go into the house, grab a phone, and we'll go get the drugs. When Michael got out of the car, the victim was in the backseat tied up. He took off with the victim, left Michael on the road with nothing. So that's when the second crew came in. It was a double rip. So that was a pretty awesome case. That lasted about that took me about 9 months to wrap everybody up. I ended up getting about 7 or 8 defendants on that case. Everybody confessed, and we flipped everybody and took Tick and Michael to trial. About 5 years after that, 2010, that went to trial. That case was pretty amazing. It was a lot of interviewing. Those cases that are big time, you see few and far between like that. Big cases like that, serial killer cases, you may see some. But when you have to do, I really enjoyed that case because I had to interview so many people. There were so many gang members involved in that case. I was particularly got hooked on gang murders, Latin Kings, what do they call syndicates? On some of the gangs that were formed in Miami. I for some reason when that rotation came around, it was a gang murder. So I got pretty good at doing gang murders and going to interview in prisons, gangs. So you hear that these gang members don't want to talk to the police, but the end, man, they cry just as much as all the other ones. Man. They're 6'4", tatted up from their necks all the way down. MS-13, call them whatever you are. They're all a bunch of punks. And they all cry just like the next one. They all confess. Just practice your skills. And those cases are a lot of fun just because it's so many. It's a lot of managerial work and putting all the pieces together. It's just managing how many people you've interviewed and all the background checks and knowing everything about everybody. So that's the advantage that we have in law enforcement and as investigations in the U.S. And it's probably like that in Tulsa. I was the lead all the way to prosecution. They tried this business one time where I would work a homicide case, and then you hand off your, I think in the FBI it's a little bit like this. Then you hand off the homicide case to the next agent who has the next shift, and then he continues it to the next rotation, the morning shift guy, and then you get it again in that rotation later on. But then you miss what everybody else did. Yeah, then you got to have a briefing. You got to have a briefing. What did you do with the case? Who did you interview? What did they say? You lost the information. And when it's time to go interview witnesses and victims' family, you don't know where you're at. Everybody gets lost. So then it came back to you're always the lead. That's the problem that they have in Brazil, that they're tossing the case to different investigators all the time, and everybody starts all over again. Let's interview all the family members again. Let's interview all the witnesses again, because there's always a new investigator over and over again, and you lose it. Yeah.
That's why when you kept going, hey man, so I'm gonna get on there, like meeting on tonight. Like I'm gonna get on there at 8 something tonight. And I'm like, no, Freddy, it's Eastern time, buddy. I'm Central. You're 1 hour off. I didn't realize you were in Brazil. I kept thinking, man, what's up with him? He knows that I'm in Oklahoma. I thought you were sitting in Miami. So what's it like in Brazil? I mean, is that place pretty scary? Is there a lot of crime there?
Man, it's beautiful, man. It's real nice down here. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, what I say about crime in Brazil is the same thing I say about crime in every big city. All right, every big city that you go to, LA, Miami, New York. All the big cities, if you're hanging around in the wrong place at the wrong time when you shouldn't be doing, you're gonna find it.
Yeah.
Just like any big city, you're there. Everybody's got an issue. All right. And if you want to look like and act like a victim, you're gonna become a victim. So just be aware of your surroundings. You know, you hang out late at night at bars getting drunk, you're gonna find trouble, man. Trouble's gonna find you because you're acting like a victim. You're acting like a victim. So if you're hanging around in the wrong neighborhood, you know, you're there. You're not there looking for a bar, for a party or something. You're looking for trouble, man. That's what I say about anything. So, you know, I'm a lot calmer these days. So I go to a restaurant. I go have drinks with my friends. I don't do the 3 o'clock. I have to come back at 3 o'clock in the morning party anymore. I don't do that stuff. You know.
Yeah, we're too old for that jazz.
It's too much of a problem late at night. You know, it's too much of a problem.
Now, just out of curiosity, do you actually do guest speaking appearances? As far as, do you have like case presentations that you do aside from your company? That like if a homicide conference somewhere in this country was looking for a speaker, is that something that you can do and you're interested in doing, kind of thing? Yeah,
for sure. I do it down here. I've done it before. Yeah, sure, no problem, man. If you got something going on, and I'm over there in Oklahoma, I'll be happy to go up there.
Well, I've got ties to other organizations, man. I was thinking like Virginia and maybe Texas, and because I think that I'm thinking. So when you're dealing with those type of gangs down there, and it sounds to me like you kind of got. I know you say it was tons of fun, but gang murders to me are not exactly something that I just live for. Although I do get my more than fair share of them sometimes, and I'm like, okay. Sometimes I'm like, why me? But because those are tough.
Yeah. They're tough cases. They're tough cases. They're not all going to talk to you either. I think I would have to say I will tell you this: the toughest people to interview are juveniles, the young kids. Because they don't understand what consequence is. When you're speaking to an adult and their liberty is at risk, it becomes tough for them. But these kids don't understand what that means. It really does. Their frontal lobe has not developed enough for them to understand what consequence is. So their crime is either by impulse or it's planned because they have to do an initiation, but they're not thinking ahead. They're at a half hour interval. That's it. They're at half hour, 30 minutes, and that's their capacity. Anything after that, they don't reason, they don't understand it. And even when they're told in front of them, you're in a lot of trouble, They don't get it. They don't understand it. They think they're going home. They're used to the juvenile system. What happens at the juvenile system? You take them in. It's not a holding cell. It's an open area. It's all nice and dandy. Then mom and daddy come, picks them up, and takes them home. They think it's always going to be like that. So when they're in the interview room, they don't care. They just don't talk to you. They don't tell you anything. They just don't care.
Yeah, you're right about that, man. They're tough. And are you Cuban?
I'm not Cuban.
You're not.
I am not. I was born in Venezuela, and as a very young little thing, I went to the United States. I was about 3 or 4 years old when I went to the United States.
Okay.
But I have to say, the Cuban community is amazing, and the culture is incredible. You will, what do they call it? You will become Cubanized if you're hanging out in Miami for a long time, because the food is amazing, and the people are amazing.
So you're not Cuban, but you've been Cubanized. So yeah. you're partly Cuban now. Did you ever have any people that just would flee back to Cuba? And then what did you do then?
We've had a couple. Yeah, there's no extradition, and there's just like Brazil. There's no extradition in Brazil either. It's tough, man. It's tough. We chased down a serial killer down here in Brazil, and the case ended up being made. But Broward County did a really good job on that case. They had one of the victims. Many years later, they were able to solve the case, but the guy ended up dying in an airplane crash. But we always knew where he was. We just couldn't get him extradited.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
It's tough. You could do all the, we've gone to other countries to go bring people back. You work with Interpol and you get a red notice on the Interpol warrants. You got to work with the State Departments for that to go chase people down in other countries. You just can't get on a plane and go. Yeah. Once you're given permission to work with the police, then we at Miami Homicide, we chased people all over the world. We traveled all over to interview people all over the world. No eyewitnesses, even if there were eyewitnesses. And if the offender's in another country, we know that they're there. We're going to do everything to get them, to bring them back. Yeah. For the marshals to go get them and bring them back, and work with the governments to bring them back, and we're interviewing when they come here. Yeah. Well,
that's epic, because that means to me that Miami they don't really put a price tag on murders. They want them solved, and they're willing to do whatever it takes, and that's pretty cool that they were willing to do that.
Back then, we were fortunate to have a big budget. The budget for that allowed that. Yeah. So in the state attorney's office, front billed some of that budget as well for travel and to go get offenders. We had a good relationship with the state attorney's office as homicide investigators. That you got to have that relationship with the state attorney's office. You're eventually going to work with them together during the trial anyway. So, yeah.
If you want to hear more from Freddy, I will mention this. And even though your podcast isn't currently going, you did do a podcast there for a while. Amanda, throw that picture up of his podcast that I'd sent you that photo. And I think I did. Yeah, there you go. Talking Murder. At Talking Murder. You can follow Freddy on Instagram. You can actually, there's his Instagram account right there. Check out his website on the other. But the Talking Murder podcast, you did a handful of those at least. You did several episodes. They're still up. You can listen to them. And you just said that it kind of got in the way with your school, et cetera. But that's something you're planning on maybe revisiting.
But as you can see here, the studio's set up. So I'm about to start getting something going now. So.
I think that would be great, because what you were doing, what was the preface of that? You were talking about murders and how to investigate them and being better at it, right?
Yeah. It's what we're doing right now. It's what you and I are doing right now. It's educating the new investigators. It was part of my training. I'm doing the actual training now, and additional information for them, to get better at their work and talking to we're talking to judges, attorneys, other investigators, techniques. I was putting it out there. I really didn't care about it. Everybody's concerned, oh, you're putting too much information. You know what? I don't care. It's not the same. So more information, more people are going to get out of it what you're doing, interviewing all these investigators and prosecutors and judges, and we need that training, man. We need that knowledge for investigators. They're just going to get better.
And, really, you'd mentioned something about some cops that didn't really like the idea of the first 48 being on there and et cetera. Adam, we've been on there for almost 11 years, and I've had one person message me. He was from Laguna Beach. He was a detective from there that was kind of ticked off about it. And so I sat there and I thought about it before I responded. I thought I need to take a minute and just think about how I'm going to respond to this, in a good response. And I just told him, I said, dude, I mean, it's not like we're giving away any trade secrets. People know that we're going to check their social media, for God's sakes. It's not a matter of national security. Geez. I mean, there are some things that we keep quiet and so forth. That's some of the stuff we just don't want to remind people of constantly. But people know we're going to check your phone. Geez, that's just the way it goes. I think what we have our advantage is that people don't think these things through, and this isn't a Dateline mystery,
The majority of the murders are all in the heat of the moment by impulse. Very few are very well planned anyway. Even the ones who are planning them, very, very few of them are very well planned anyway. I can tell you, man, it's really hard for somebody to get away with it. Can they do it? Yes. But to get away with it, very hard, man. Very hard. Just do a test yourself. I don't know how far you live from your PD, right? If you were to leave from your home, let's say that's an hour away, and you drive to the PD, can you conduct an investigation on yourself and find your vehicle every half mile? Either it's tracked by a camera somewhere, it's tracked on the highway by some sort of SunPass or ePass or some kind of toll system. Mm-hmm. When it gets to the end point, we're going to put a device in your car. I'm going to know the speed that you were in, where you turned left, where you turned right, when you gassed up, when you didn't gas up. I'm going to have every red light camera that you passed through, every SunPass camera, everything, man. Everything. You can't get away with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to track you, and you're going to be able to track yourself that hour drive all the way to the police station. If you just think about it, can I leave, commit a murder, and go to work and say I didn't go to work? It's not going to happen. Forget your cell phone. Mm-hmm. Forget your cell phone. We can track anybody, anywhere, at any time. You're not going to get away. You can lie all you want, but it's too tough, man. With that technology now. Yeah,
it's insane.
The cameras.
That's a good public service announcement to the people that are tuning in here to educate themselves, man, because he's right. You're right, Freddy.
It's tough, It's tough. People don't like city cameras. There's over 1,000 cameras in the city of Miami, a 34 square mile zone, 1,000 cameras.
Yeah, that's just the ones that are on the roads, right? That's not even counting all the doorbell cameras and the business cameras and the every other camera.
Right, we're talking about police cameras. Yeah, all the other cameras. You drive through a business at midnight that's closed. The lights are on. Guess what's on? The cameras are on. That's why the light inside the business is on. You drive by, there's a camera. You're going to be seen. There's no way out. But you know what? The killer who's watching this now, the guy who wants to kill somebody, he's not going to remember all that stuff when he's doing it and where he's trying to get away. He's not going to remember. He's going to get caught. It's awesome for the new technology. I love it. It's great.
No, it is too. It is great. So I just want to remind everybody that number one, Freddy Ponce, man, you're awesome, dude. I really have a lot of respect for you, and I'm not just saying that. The reason why I do is because you've not only did you represent your department well. Actually, all of your detectives did. I think that your department just had the utmost professionalism when it came to solving homicides, and really you kind of had the look of what you imagine homicide detectives to look like. I mean, really, even down to the miniature coffee cups. What is it that you drink with that?
the Cuban coffees.
yeah. No, but seriously, you guys dressed for success. You came and you did care. And that's one of the things that we get from a lot of the viewers from our city, is that we actually care. I'm still shocked that departments just aren't fighting over wanting to be on that show. But it's always a struggle to get people to want to have their city filmed. But it's been good for us. So
it's tough, man. It's some issues. There's issues there. There's issues with that. So it could become a problem, and then Cities don't want the issues. They don't want the problems with the filming. There could be some problems in there while filming. There could be issues. So they're being careful. They're really being careful. You mentioned something. I know you were trying to wrap up, but I did want to mention something about caring about the work and the passion that you have for the work. And when something I learned really, really early on is the passion that you have for the work that you do comes from how you're connected with the victims' families. The lead investigator has 5 things that he cannot delegate. He's got to be on the scene, right? Even if it's for a moment to make an assessment of the scene, he's got to be on the scene. Then he can have somebody else go do that. He's got to go interview the star witness, all right? Person who saw it. I saw the shooter. I saw the killer. Got to interview the star witness. He's got to do the autopsy. He's got to be at the autopsy the next morning. He's got to be present. Got to be there. All right? He's got to make the notification. He's got to take accountability, the responsibility to meet the family and let them know that they lost a loved one. They got to see that reaction face to face, what that is. You cannot delegate that because it's not going to be the same. You want to be the lead, that's fine. Don't send somebody else to make the notification because you're always going to remember that victim's family's face when you notify them of what happened to their son or their daughter. And when you understand that, then you have an attachment to the case. You have a passion for the case, and you don't abandon that victim's family. Just do a self-analysis on all the cases that you've worked or other partners have worked. Who made the notification? And find out how many cases were solved or not solved because of that, just because of that alone. When you're that close to the family, and you tell the family when you have that family meeting, when you tell them to come to the office or you take them to your office, you give them a business card and you tell them I'm available 24 hours a day. You call me anytime you want. If I don't answer, as soon as I see the message, I'm going to call you. I also need you to be available for me when I contact you. Tell that to the family. And I'm going to call you the day that I have the person in custody, no matter what time of the day is. I'll call you at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning that I have them in custody. And you have an agreement, you have a contract with that family that you're always going to be there for them. And that you're always going to notify them. Even if the case goes nowhere. We've had this problem before. We've got nothing. We've got no leads. Case is dead. But you're still in touch with them anyway. They're going to call you. But what's wrong with you picking up the phone and saying, hey, how are you doing? Look, I still have nothing, but I want to check up on you. You have that connection to that case that tight. You're going to solve those cases, man. You're going to solve them. It's a key component. You got to be in touch with the family. Involve the families in the investigation. Let them help you. You never know how many, what resources those families have. They may have a whole lot of money, or they may have no money, but they have a lot of friends who have resources, real estate agents, attorneys. They have friends in the industry. They know people on the streets. They're best friends of all the gang members. They know everybody, all the girlfriends. They know everything there is to know. Don't ignore the families. Some police agencies tell the detectives, don't involve the family. Don't tell them what's going on with the case. Don't let them know what's going on because they're going to go find and tell the offender or whatever. No, involve them in the investigation. Yeah, do we have to keep some stuff secret? Yeah, we do. But involve them in the investigation so they can help you, and then that gives them a purpose as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, Freddy, honestly. And the other thing is that you don't know what family from the past is going to help you on a murder of the present, from another different case because of how you treated them on your other case. It's kind of one of those, you know what I mean? So, and that's happened for me. I have no doubt that that's happened for you along the way. I get calls from people all the time, that are some even gangsters that I treated them right. And so if you treat people right, and you just treat people right, it's going to pay real dividends for you down the line. And so I agree 100%. I think that's priceless information, Freddie. I really do. And Man, they should really teach that to every single homicide detective when they first come into the unit, and they give us a cell phone for a reason. And one of the things that I have seen over the years is I see every now and then you'll get a detective that goes, "Don't give him my cell phone number," and it's like, well, that's what it's there for, buddy, and that's what you signed up for. And that's one of those things. That's a good barometer of what you may be dealing with out of that detective down the line. So anyway, listen, man, I can't thank you enough, buddy. I'm gonna be mentioning your name down the line, and I'm sure that you would be able to present a 4-hour case study or a couple of case studies in a 4-hour period. I'm sure 2 hours to 4 hours, whatever, that wouldn't be an issue for you. You're definitely a public speaker that's been out there. You've attended the Forensic Academy. You've been to the body farm. Didn't you go through that too? Yeah,
that's it. I'm doing one now in at the National Forensic Academy in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, for your crime scene investigators if you have any crime scene investigators. Yeah, that's at the National Forensic Academy. We do a couple of weeks there at the body farm there. We do a search, excavation, and recovery there. Bone identification as well, of course, with Dr. Heather Walsh Haney out of Florida Gulf Coast University. She teaches at the National Forensic Academy. Now we work together with my company, and then I'm doing here May 19th through the 23rd. I'll be in Cape Coral, Florida, doing the search, excavation, and recovery death investigation course there for a week. Still got some seats available. There's some homicide investigators on. They can go to my website. They can register there for the course if they're interested in doing that. But yeah. Good.
Good. I tell you what.
Yeah, man.
If you're looking for a good course to go to, it sounds like this is the one. And also that Forensic Academy, that's not something that's a gimme. You got to actually apply for that, right? You have to be selected.
Yeah, and it's very expensive too. So I think it's like $11,000 per student. And they do about 3 or 4 courses a year. So the majority of the people that go there are crime scene investigators. A lot of the Texas Rangers guys go there. I have a lot of friends there in Texas. Some good guys. Some of the instructors are Rangers as well. Mm-hmm. So it's 10 weeks, and you stay at apartments there, two investigators per apartment, and you're there for 10 weeks. So it's not just body farm; it's all forensic photography, fingerprinting week, DNA week. There's a bomb school as well for a week.
Wow, it's a one-shop stop. You can get it all.
All there. Yep. So it's all law enforcement or CSI. Yep.
All right. So if you guys have questions in reference to that, further questions, follow him on Instagram. Go to his website. You can contact him easily there. And Freddy, man, I appreciate you, buddy. I really do. It's good to meet you.
Great. Let's do it again, man. I had a great time.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it again down the line. Yeah. I hope that you will. And I would love to have you back. And we'll do that. And like I said, I hope to meet you in person because I'm going to see what I can do to maybe bring you.
Yeah, man. I've been very close to going up there to my friends at Muskegee Nation Light Horse Police Department. They're coming down to the class. I have 3 of them coming down in May. They're coming down, and I've been very close to coming up there to try to do my homicide interrogation course. So, trying to set something up to do an interrogation class up in Tulsa.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We'll see if we can coordinate something together and do a class.
Maybe we can figure something out for sure, because I do a lot of teaching as well. And I'm serious. The similarities between you and I is amazing. And I got to applaud your passion, buddy. You're probably the most passionate homicide detective that I've actually, Gil from the Night Stalker case, he's another one. You guys are just, man, you're impressive, and people that I look up to. And I like to look up to people like you. You're like my big homie, Freddy. So,
all right, man. Hey, let's stay in touch, man. We'll talk about cases back and forth. We'll do some, next time let's do a case study. We'll go through a case study.
Let's do it. Matter of fact, I might even send you a case down the line for you to take a look at. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you joining us. Freddie, appreciate you as well. Once again, Janice Yako in New Jersey. I hope you're feeling a little better, and I'm sorry that you're going through all of this. It breaks my heart that you're doing that. I want to mention one company that I actually had met in San Antonio at the Homicide Investigators of Texas conference in San Antonio, which, by the way, if you're looking for a conference that's very affordable to go to, that's a good one in San Antonio. It's for law enforcement. Check it out. But this company I want to give a shout out to, and I'm not getting paid to mention them, but I was really impressed with them, and it's Atari Trade, Atari Trade, and they actually make challenge coins. And man, their work is they'll make anything you want basically, and they'll put your logos on there. And we're talking challenge coins that are like $3 a pop. You're not going to find challenge coins at that rate anywhere else, and I was incredibly impressed with it. And they'll make jackets for you, they'll embroider hats, they'll do all kinds of crazy stuff at a reasonable price. And I at least wanted to mention them, and I thought that was really impressive. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, thank you again. Amanda, thank you for letting us go a little longer than
Thank
normal.
you, Amanda.
Yes, thanks for filling in. I'm sorry about that little bit. That was a real amateur minute, and I'm sorry that happened. But I'm sure that this episode came out great in the end. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you again, Freddy. We're going to stay in touch. You're my friend now, and right on. We're gonna work together. I can guarantee it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. Amanda, take us out.